Hey, I snuck outside for a couple minutes to tell you what happens if you are in contract to sell your house and your buyer walks away. Um, Definitely happens. Seen a lot. Seen it happen a lot recently, and I'll be interested to see if it happens more as the market kind of changes a little bit in the world of buying and selling houses. But so what happens, right? So you go into contract to sell your house, and you get through all the due diligence, the inspections, the buyer goes through all the financing, they're approved for financing, and you're set to close. And then the week of closing or the day before closing, you get word that the buyer's walking away, that they're not going to buy the house, they're not going to close. So what happens? What do you do? Well, here's what the law says. One, if there's nothing in the contract that allows the buyer to walk away, and that's actually a really good point. Like, you need to be aware of what's in your contract. Make sure there's nothing in there that allows the buyer to just walk away for any reason or no reason. So if there's nothing in the contract that allows them to walk away, then they've broken the contract. They breached the contract, as we expensive lawyers like to say, right? So what do you do? Okay, well, first thing is you should go to the title company and make sure you sign all the closing documents. Make sure they're aware that you are prepared to close. So you go ahead and sign everything, and then when the buyer never signs them, what are your options? One, you could contact the buyer and say, look, if you don't buy this house, if you don't close on it, then we're going to have to resell it. And if we sell it for a lesser amount, a smaller purchase price, you're on the hook, and we're going to come after you. You could tell the buyer that. Maybe they'll change their mind and close. If they won't, well, then you put the house back on the market, you sell it to somebody else. You probably sold, if you sold it for a lower purchase price, if you had any additional carrying costs, things like that. In that scenario, the buyer that broke the contract, they're going to be on the hook. So you calculate all those damages. You go through, you sell the house to a second buyer for, we'll say, a lower purchase price. You've got another couple of months maybe of loan interest or whatever the carrying costs are in the house. Maybe you had to pay for another inspection. Maybe you had to pay something towards closing costs. You calculate all that, put that in your damages bucket, and now you sue the second buyer. That's what it comes down to. You sue the second buyer, they're responsible for everything that you suffered as a result. No emotional distress, nothing like that, but they're responsible for the lower purchase price. They're responsible for any closing costs you had to pay that you wouldn't have had to pay in the first deal, maybe any extra interest. They're responsible for that. Now, if you end up selling your house to the second buyer for more money, you can't go after the first buyer if that happens. So, but I wouldn't complain too much if you sold it for more money. So anyway, that's happening. It's out there. Pay attention to your real estate purchase contract. Make sure, in my opinion, if you're selling a house, that once the financing contingencies are met, once the inspection contingencies are met, the buyer cannot just walk away, because it's super frustrating. And make sure you're using a good real estate agent as well. So those are the things you can help protect yourself with. If you find yourself in that scenario, contact me, contact a lawyer, and we'll help walk you through it. All right, good luck.